Good evening and welcome to the Nevis Newscast for today, Tuesday, June 23rd, 2015. I am your presenter, Bronte Swanston Hendrickson. June 30th is the date of the next sit-in of the St. Kitts and Nevis National Assembly. According to Attorney General, the Honorable Vincent Byron, notice of the second meeting of the new term along with the order paper were circulated today.
Following the announcements by the Speaker, Mr. Franklin Brandt, and prayers, the oath of allegiance is expected to be taken by those members, the opposition members in Parliament, who had been absent from the first sit-in.
Tuesday's sit-in will also see statements by ministers and personal statements by the members of Parliament. The main order of business is the introduction of the Banking Bill 2015 and the Citizenship by Investment Amendment Bill 2015 for subsequent debate.
The Banking Bill is one which is of extreme importance to the banking sector of the East Caribbean Currency Union, while the Citizenship by Investment Amendment Bill is the first of significant measures to be introduced to improve the regulation of the Economic Citizenship Program. The bills to be introduced are the first of a legislative agenda to usher in a new era in good governance for St. Kitts and Nevis.
The June 30th sit-in of the National Assembly is slated to commence at 10 a.m. at the Assembly Chambers at Government Headquarters on St. Kitts. The federal government, through the St. Kitts and Nevis Citizenship by Investment (CBI) program, has begun the processing and approving of applications for developers who wish to commence projects on Nevis. So notes Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Vance Amory, who says, as a result, the development of a number of properties have already started and will result in jobs and other benefits for the island's people.
And you heard from the Left co-representative his talk about T-Loft in St. Kitts. Now, a number of the people who are involved in that T-Loft construction are people who are resident in Nevis as workers on that project. Very soon we shall see the full impact of the H-Trip Candy Resort and residences. LEFCO will be involved in that as well. Now, would they be able to handle the two jobs, two projects at the same time? Certainly they will. But what will happen? I don't expect that the same people who are working in St. Kitts for 24 hours or 12 hours will come over to Nevis and work for that full day. So it will mean a creation of additional employment for our contractors or subcontractors and laborers in the construction industry.
He expanded on how these and other projects would result in positive spin-offs for the Nevis economy.
We're looking at the Four Seasons Resort, the Four Seasons real estate development, and the expansion which is going on in that area. We look at the Mount Nevis Resort, hotel and residences. Again, expansion being done in that regard, started last year and still ongoing. We look at the Butler's Estate Resort and Residences project. Paradise Palms already begun their construction, and they should be looking at some 200 units, which will add, I said, not just to the construction, but to the tourism plant, which will enable us to go out, market for more airlift and so on for the long-term economic development of Nevis. And yesterday at Cabinet, we considered and approved the development or the request to develop a project on 20 acres of land in the St. James area, near to the St. James's Church, towards the seaside, of a project which will be called Oasis Hotel and Resort and Residences.
According to the Premier, his administration has adopted the policy that any project approved by the CBI program must have a hotel component.
Any project which is earmarked for the citizenship program it must have, under this administration, and I know in St. Kitts we're looking at making that a policy as well, must have a hotel component rather than just building condos or units which may never become occupied either by the owners or rented. So that is really where we are in terms of our policy on the creation of employment in construction, but also looking that once that construction is done, there will be hotel rooms which will be hiring a significant number of people for each of those properties, so that we have an increase in employment and an increase, therefore, in activity throughout the economy.
Premier Amory was at the time speaking on the topic, building a vibrant and a secure Nevis economy through new federal partnerships. He was the featured speaker at the June 18th quarterly luncheon put on by the Nevis Division of the St. Kitts and Nevis Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Commonwealth Secretary-General Kamalesh Sharma recently paid a courtesy call on Prime Minister the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris. He said his visits gives head of government a flavor of the kind of issues and initiatives that are likely to come up at the 24th Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, slated to take place from November 27th to 29th, 2015 in Malta. Bilateral and multilateral issues are relevant to the Commonwealth and St. Kitts and Nevis, as there are many areas in which the Commonwealth and the Federation have worked together, including protocol training, delimitations of marine boundaries, which are crucial for the economy of small states, the issues of ocean governance and financial services. The Secretary-General sees the relationship between the Commonwealth and the Federation as extremely promising and mentioned that ocean governance of blue economy work is essential for St. Kitts and Nevis. St. Kitts and Nevis may be a small island state, but it is a huge ocean state, Sharma said, adding that what it does in terms of debt for land swap, tourism, exploiting the economic resources from its territorial waters depends upon the delimitations and registration of this territory with the UN's Laws of the Sea Conference. The Secretary-General also met with representatives of the St. Kitts and Nevis Chamber of Industry and Commerce, and they discussed many issues with a great concentration on energy. Coming up,
the NCDF is putting on a troop, 80-man strong troop.
The details after this break. Welcome back. The St. Kitts and Nevis Cuban Alumni Association and the St. Kitts and Nevis Cuba Friendship Association on Saturday, June 20th, donated supplies to the Flamboyant Nursing Home and the St. George and St. John's Senior Citizens Home. The Cuban Alumni Association consists of past students of universities in Cuba who came together 10 years ago in an effort to donate to the communities in which they reside. This year, the association partnered with the St. Kitts and Nevis Cuba Friendship Association to make donations to senior citizens on Nevis. Vice President of the St. Kitts and Nevis Cuban Alumni Association is Retna Walwyn-Brown.
And we are here today at the Flamboyant Home to more or less distribute some supplies that we as a group decided to donate. And so today we are here to make the presentation to the nurses and the staff and to more or less thank them for the work that they're doing with our elderly, who are more or less the stalwarts of our federation. And so we hope that this would help to provide some of the things that they do here in terms of food, some of the toiletries, and the essentials. And I'm sure it would help to reduce some of the costs for maybe for a period.
In response, nursing assistant Cecilia Stanley thanked the Vice President and the association for their donation.
On behalf of the residents and staff of the Flamboyant Nursing Home, we would like to thank the Cuban Alliance Associations for the donation that they have presented us this morning. Thank you.
President of the St. Kitts and Nevis Cuba Friendship Association, Talca Wallace, thanked the senior citizens for their contribution to the Nevisian community.
This is just a small part of saying thank you to all of you for the work that you have done in bringing this federation to where it is today.
Wallace also thanked the members of the association for the donation and said she hopes that making the donation would become an annual event. After the handing over ceremony at the Flamboyant Nursing Home, the association traveled to the St. George's and St. John's Senior Citizens Home, where a similar ceremony was held, and Nurse Ima Stanley accepted the supplies on behalf of the nursing home. The St. Paul's Area Competitive Eagles, or SPACE, is a newly launched community group in the St. Paul's Parish which aims to empower the St. Paul's community through sports and education. SPACE, which was launched in May of this year, has hosted activities such as community cleanups and a fun day at the El Camino T. Willett Park. On a Sunday, June 21st, which was celebrated as Father's Day, President of SPACE, Nicola Fraser, and a few other members of the group visited the Flamboyant Nursing Home, where they presented resident Sean Daniel with a donation.
SPACE, St. Paul's Area Competitive Eagles, we have come together and we decided to give you a package today, Father's Day, to show you that we are praying for you.
Assistant Treasurer of the group, Garrick Hunkins, made the presentation to Daniel and explained the reason behind it.
On behalf of SPACE and the entire St. Paul's community, we'd like to present you with this small, somewhat very significant and also extremely timely token of our appreciation for what you've done to the St. Paul's community and the Nevisian community on a whole. We wish upon you God's richest blessings and you're in our thoughts. We are thinking of you.
The other executive members of the group are Vice President Clecia Williams, Treasurer Sanelto Willett, Secretary Kimoy Clark, and Assistant Secretary Chelsea Liburd. The Nevis Cultural Development Foundation, NCDF, is gearing up to host the series of cultural events from July 19th to August 9th, 2015. Chief Executive Officer of the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation, Keith Scarborough, recently spoke to us about the various activities which have been scheduled.
On the 19th of July, we have a night of drama being put on by the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation as well. On the 24th of July, we have the NCDF Day, which we had last year. So this is the second anniversary. It's a day when the NCDF will bring things cultural to you from yesteryear and, of course, from in this present time.
As part of the festivities, the NCDF will also host the second Basil Manors Steel Pan Championship and the first St. Kitts and Nevis Masquerade competition on July 27th at the Netball Complex.
On the 28th of July, of course, you would recall that last year we had musical cornucopia, and it was very well attended, very well done, headed by Deslin Williams there at NIPAP, the manager at NIPAP. And again, we are having it this year, and it's something we want to have annually, of course, because of the significance of it and what it does. Yeah, so we are having musical cornucopia on the 28th of July at NIPAC. The NCDF is putting on a troop, 80-man strong troop. It'll be in 4 different parts. If you went to the launch of the contestants on Friday, you will see the various costumes being advertised at that particular function. And what we are going to do is to have those various costumes placed outside the NCDF office. As you pass down the road, you will see the different costumes and you will choose which one you want. And of course, they come with a fee. You want to participate, you buy your costume and be part of the troupe for 2015.
An encore performance of the NSCTF's dramatic play will also be held on August 7th at NEPAC. There will also be an encore performance of musical cornucopia at NEPAC on August 8th. The final event is slated for August 9th, when NEPAC will host Laughlin Tatum and the Poinciana Theatre dramatic production.
The foundation is going to be very, very busy and very filled with excitement and fun, not only for the foundation, but of course for the island and people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
CEO of Nevis Cultural Development Foundation, Keith Scarborough. And that's it for tonight's edition of the Nevis Newscast. I am Bronte Swanston Hendrickson. Thank you for viewing. Good night.